Hello and welcome to the Reading Entertainment Podcast, episode 425 for November 12th, 2023. My name is Nathan Reitensbruth. Joining me this week, we have Connor, the cyberpunk monk, Besh.
Nathan's back.
I'm back. I had to do 770 miles of driving last weekend, so that kind of sucked. And we are also joined by, of course, Andrew Roa McFain.
Yep, I'm here this time.
You're here. You did it. You made it. Yeah, you tapped out a couple of weeks ago, and I forget why, but you weren't here, and that's fine.
I get it. It's sometimes too much, Nathan. I understand.
I get that, but I just want you to know, last time I was here, I was dead tired, and then I think we did Shadowrun, and then afterwards I was like, man, I'm gonna go lay down, and I went and lay down for an hour or so, and then I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I stood up, went to the bathroom, and then I fainted.
That's yeah.
Normal.
It was awkward, and my girlfriend got mad at me because I didn't want to go to the doctor. I'm like, my health insurance sucks. I'm in the United States. Of course I don't want to go to the doctor.
Hasn't happened again, or nothing, has it?
No, I think it was just not enough fluids, and I was just dead tired.
It's a real thing.
But now
standing up too fast. That happens to me sometimes, but I'm like 6'5".
Now I don't have much to go. Like, it's only like a foot or two for me. You'll see if we hang out in March. You'll see that I'm like a foot shorter than you.
He is a very short person.
I'm pretty short, but at least I can fit easily in airplane seats.
Above airplane seats in the compact storage.
Exactly.
He's economical.
So let me ask Connor, what games have you played this week? Oh, wait. Where can we find you?
Yeah, that's not what you asked first. That's what you wanted to ask. So you could find me, you could find Aroa at aroa.website. And while you're there checking out all of our relevant social media links, you should check out two of those. One of those, if you're into fantasy actual play podcasts, is Clinton Score Classics, a Rise of the Rune Lords First Edition actual play podcast. I worked real hard on it, and it's all free, and it's all available. It's all done. Go check it out.
We did it. We did it.
The one I'm working on right now is a Shadowrun actual play podcast called Bug City Blues, which is a 6th World Edition actual play podcast. I'm working pretty ding hard on it. I think this latest episode's probably the best thing I've ever made of anything so far. And I'm pretty proud of it.
I've heard a single person give you a compliment on it.
I've gotten a whole bunch of compliments on the other podcasts. Don't make me copy and paste them. I'm not really into vanity, but I'll do it. I'm totally into proving a point.
I saw I think it was in our Bug City Blues chat, which you can join the Discord at the links below. And somebody said that the editing and stuff was really good.
Ash gave it kudos. I don't think he listens to this podcast, but we got a dude in the Discord who's like a governmental contractor trucker or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of been fun to listen to, just like on the perspective of, other people with actual lives doing actual things. That's
weird.
Neat.
I don't get it.
It's weird.
I don't like the doing actual live things.
I didn't get it either, and then he explained the paycheck he got, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I get it.
Oh yeah,
now I get it."
And then let's ask Aroa first. What games you played this week? Nothing. Apparently.
No.
Not a damn thing.
I mean, did I? Not much besides. I guess. Well, wait. No, I didn't talk about this because I wasn't.
You weren't here.
I don't think I was. Yeah.
You were here last. You were here last.
I was here last week, but I don't. No, I didn't talk about it really. Did I? Library of Ruina? I talk about that?
I don't know.
No, you talked about Doppeldreck or something.
Yeah,
like
I talked about Fremdganger.
Yeah, that's.
So Library of Ruina is what I've mostly been playing, and it is an interesting game. So it's like it's a card battler, sort of visual novel, sort of thing.
It's called Twisted
Like it's
Metal.
very what?
You're playing Twisted Metal.
No, it's
Oh, okay.
so not car battler, card.
Oh, Card. Okay.
Yeah. So the way it plays out is essentially you're the person running the death game in a death game anime. So
Oh,
and
I think I've seen that on Steam.
yeah, so you invite people in and you're like, okay, if you win your trial, then you can have whatever you want. But if you lose, then you're dead and your soul's trapped here forever. And you just have to kill everyone that comes in. And kind of part of the rest of the appeal of the game is learning sort of what led these people to get to the point that they've decided to accept coming here and probably dying,
Yeah.
as well as the interpersonal relationships between those who are in here not really willingly running this death game, but they don't really have any other choice either. Uh, there's a lot of interesting story stuff, and the combat is it's good so far. I feel like there's a lot of depth that I haven't gotten to yet because I'm still pretty early in the game, and I feel like I'm gonna hit a wall at some point very soon because I am not very good at strategy in most cases, and I'm starting to struggle in some of the encounters. So, but I watched a video talking about one particular scenario in the game, and I was like, well, this sounds absolutely fucking off the wall. So I need to see what the fuck this is about. And so far, yeah, it seems pretty cool. And it's a Korean game, which is rather unusual. They it's the same people that made another game that probably neither of you and none of our listener have heard of, which was Lobotomy Corporation.
I've heard of
It's
it.
tech it is technically a sort of it takes place in the same universe as Lobotomy Corporation. It's sort of a sequel, but not really. It's just kind of happens to be in the same universe, which makes complete sense because Lobotomy Corporation's just kind of a big homage to SCP Foundation. So like, but whenever you make something that's essentially the SCP Foundation, like you can kind of expand that universe infinitely. But yeah, it's really cool. Um, I was fortunate enough that it went on sale right around the time that I thought about buying it. Got it for like $15, and it's been well worth it thus far.
Good. We are going to move on and we're going to talk to Cyberpunk Monk about what games he's played.
You want to know what games I've played this week? Well, I've got an interesting one to mention right off the top. You guys know Cookie Clicker?
Yes.
Yeah.
I beat Cookie Clicker for like 20 minutes. And what I mean when I say that I beat it is that there was no more upgrades for me to get. I had everything. And I was like, okay, I guess this will go from something I check on like once or twice a day to once or twice a week, and I'll find something else to waste my time on. And while I was looking for a new game to play in the store, I had noticed that Cookie Clicker had an update from like 4 hours prior. That update brought a whole bunch of features from the app to it, so now I'm back to playing Cookie Clicker again. Which is like not even really a game. I don't know why I'm mentioning it.
It's not.
It's such a something to pass the time because haha bar go up.
Did they put the dungeons back in yet?
They don't have dungeons. They are beginning to implement seasons, but there's a big old like to do work in progress and a lot of buttons work, but in that they exist, but they don't work in that they function. It's Cookie Clicker. Like I'm not asking anything of it, so the fact that I'm getting anything extra is phenomenal to me. I'm more than happy to give them the 5 cents of ad revenue I probably generate a week.
That is what I was going to ask is how do they make money on Cookie Clicker?
You either pay for it or they run an ad for Temu on the bottom and you ignore it.
Oh, okay, that makes I can't use Timu. It's like Wish. I just can't bring myself to do it because I don't hate myself.
It's just crap. You don't need more crap.
Yeah. Did you play anything else?
Yeah, so there is a game that I've been meaning to play for a while, and I've been mentioning I've sort of been in the video game blues lately, so I forced myself to sit down and spend some time with it. Y'all know Yakuza Like a Dragon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy cow, this game is good.
Yeah, I told you that.
A lot of people have told me that. A lot of people have told me that I specifically would fall in love with this game, and a lot of people specifically were very correct.
Yes. And
This
then
is go
I
on.
was gonna say they just released a new one called Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Man who
It's like
erased
a
his name.
feudal Japan or something like that.
Yeah,
No.
something like no, this is still newer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Um
it's like a post Yakuza storyline game.
yeah. But the
So
Like
this
a
is
Dragon is so good and it has so many things for you to do. It is we spoke about it before that it's like what Shenmue should be.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're very distinct games in my head playing both of them. Shenmue feels more like Virtua Fighter than Yakuza does. And I do want to also mention this is my first Yakuza title, and it's my understanding this is significantly different than the other ones.
Yes.
I
That's what
don't
I was
know if the
saying.
other ones were more like Shenmue or Virtua Fighter or whatever like that.
They are
Like
action
like a
combat
Dragon
games.
is yeah, like a Dragon is the turn-based RPG, and the other Yakuza games are all uh, beat 'em ups, more or
I
less.
I don't think I would like to play this if it wasn't an action RPG like Dragon Quest.
Yeah,
But boy, because it is, I am in love with it.
it's great. It's fantastic. I'm happy you're enjoying it. How many hours do you have in it? And does it run well on the Steam Deck?
I've only played it once on Steam Deck because I recently went through the hassle of doing some rewiring, and now my computer's hooked up to my big TV. But that one time that I did play it, it ran fine. I think I was getting like 40 frames per second without playing around with it, and I went, "That's cool. I'm gonna go lay down in bed and do this now."
Yeah, when you're playing a turn-based RPG, 30, 40 frames a second is fine.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be higher than that. I am looking at 25 and a half hours, which is pretty
Damn.
good for. I think it's been about 2 weeks since I picked this game up.
Yeah, you'll get it's about 100 hours. 90
Oh,
to it's a long game.
see, I was in chapter 10 and I was like, I feel like I'm breezing through this, but I haven't done like any looking at nothing.
Yeah,
It's hard.
yeah, there are difficult parts to it, especially some of the side quests get kind of hard as well.
A lot of the side quests I'll walk up. It's not so much an issue now, but when I was first like, oh, the world map's open to me, I'm gonna go exploring. I hit points where I'm like, I am not supposed to be here right now, am I? I cross a street and suddenly it's like, oh, these Koreans with crossbows are kicking my ass. I should not have gone over here.
Yeah, there is a point where you like become a CEO of a business.
Yeah, and Ichiban Confections. I'm working
Yeah,
through that.
and at some point I'm sorry, I'm kind of
That's
spoiling
fine.
that part of it. Is one of the girls are like, we need to you're like, we need to upgrade our place because we're getting too big, and they buy like $1 billion skyscraper.
Okay, that
And
seems
so
out of my price range.
you're standing there at the top, and they're like, no, don't worry, it'll be great. And your guy's like, fine, we'll make it work. And I, during my stream, was like, and then if it doesn't work, I can just jump off the top of this fucking building. Like, we can make that happen.
Yeah, it seems to be like the traditional Yakuza solution. Not
Yeah,
traditional in the game sense. Anyways, life sucks.
yeah,
Video games are fun.
they
Yeah,
are.
being that this was my first Yakuza installment, I was expecting this game to be a little more like Grand Theft Auto, like hyper violent with a slash of wacky. And to my delight, it's wacky with a slice of hyper violent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more towards the wacky, which is pretty
Well,
great.
particularly that one because you're playing as somebody who has some form of psychosis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's definitely a little bit of schizophrenia or something going on with this guy. But he's such a lovable character. Like, I'm in love with everything in this. Like, I was expecting to do things like we're going to, kick some asses of people who lost their fingers and smuggle guns and drugs and stuff like that. And it's like this homeless guy is friends with a kid who likes books, so I'm gonna help this homeless guy make a bookshelf because this kid wants a present.
I'm
It,
gonna do go-kart racing around town and collect cans.
I have done so many go-kart racing. I've picked up so many cans.
Yeah.
Like this he jokes about wanting to be a hero. This game wants me I want to go out and be a hero playing this game, and I like it when a game lets you be chaotic good like this.
It's very good. I'm happy that you're enjoying it because I really did. And then we're gonna move. Did you have any other games to mention before we move on?
Yeah, did I mention Halo? It's fucking Halo. It's been the same shit it's been for the last 20 years.
Okay, you played Halo. Good. We're gonna move on. And the only game I played, as I mentioned, I was driving on Monday, so I ended up getting, I think 58, 59 hours of work in this week. So that's pretty good. Getting 18 to 19 hours of overtime. But I bit the bullet. I said I wasn't going to, and then I did, and I bought Spider-Man 2 on my PS5, and it's really good. I really like the Spider-Man
Oh,
2.
finally playing a game on the PS5, huh?
Hey,
Someone has
I played the original like PS4 version of God of War on my PS5.
Oh,
Uh
yeah.
and that's and now
No.
Spider-Man.
that game that's on PC, you played
I,
that on your
I'm just gonna say the
PS5.
one thing I know about the new God of War is that when you play it on PC, there's a mod that makes it so you are Hank Hill and Bobby Hill. So I don't know why you're not playing that. It's the infinitely better version.
Because I would have had to buy it.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, because I bought the PlayStation 5 at a relatively early. They gave me
They gave you a PS4 game for free.
well, no, they gave you like a ton of PS4 games for free. So like Days Gone, God of War, a bunch of games.
We don't have any games for this thing yet, but here's some
Basically,
old ones.
It'll play your old
yeah.
ones.
And so
We'll
I
remake
played.
it, and you'll pay $70 for it, but it'll play the old ones.
Yeah, so I did. I was like, I could buy it on the PC, or I could just play it on my PS5 because that would cost me $60 less, and that's what I did. But yeah, Spider-Man 2 is great. There is one point in the game. I posted a clip that I made on my Twitch where, as Spider-Man, you have to fight Craven, and Craven just wants, his whole point is he wants somebody to challenge him and be better than him. And so at some point you're choking Craven, and Craven's like, harder. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Come on, man. And
No,
you
he's just that orc from Skyrim that you meet up on the mountain.
yeah, and you know that somebody wrote that and they knew what they were writing. They knew when they did that scene that people were gonna take that out of context. Or in context. And I just thought it was I was like, come on, man, that's your kink apparently, but whatever. And
Really? Right in front of my masked superhero?
yes, exactly. But it was good, and I'm still playing it. I think I'm towards the end of the game. Because I did play it. I played it the week before. You can go follow me, twitch.tv/Reeton. But I wasn't here last week, so I wasn't able to talk about it. And I don't want to spoil it too much because it is a brand new game. But yeah, you face Craven. That's pretty well known. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about some news. I'm gonna briefly mention it because I really don't care and I don't want to talk about it that much. Apparently, Omegle dead.
Yeah, that's probably the right way to talk about it.
Yeah.
Omegle dead.
It died because I think the guy just gave up. The guy who was running it was just like, I
In
don't
order
want
to
to do.
keep this business running, you were going to need to pay I think it was like 3.6 million or something like that. And they're like,
Nah.
what if I don't?
And then
Yeah.
also a big part is you everybody knows you go on Omegle and you see just phallic objects.
That's a penis.
Yeah, just over and over. Like that's all you run into. So it makes sense that he would just be like, "Nah, I'm out. I'm tapping out." I did you have anything to add to that, Aroa, since you're the one who brought up the story? You brought it up in our chat, not in the conversation, obviously.
Yeah, I'm I'm kind of like sad in an old man way, I guess. Like I don't know about you guys, but like I feel like Omegle is kind of like not at the same level, but very close to the same level as like whenever MySpace started like fading away. How it was like, oh yeah, that place where like a lot of important things happened in my life. Um
A lot of
Omegle
important
like
things happened in your life on Omegle.
I wouldn't like I said saying like it's not quite the same level as like MySpace, but it's like Omegle it like seeing it go away is kind of like if 4chan went away or if YTMND finally actually died instead of just being a husk of its former self like it is right now.
Yeah, where
Like
it's just
it
watching the
it's
old.
always been there,
Okay,
and
I
there are so many videos that feature like meeting weird people on Omegle. Like I don't know, been such a ubiquitous part of internet culture, and it's kind of depressing to see that part of the world now gone.
I can kind of relate to that, and I'm gonna talk about professional wrestling when WCW died. The same thing. It's like it was always there when I was a kid, and then WCW was just dead, and you couldn't watch it anymore. It was kind of the same way. It's like, oh man, things are changing, and it's sad, and sometimes that happens, and we got to move on, which kind of sucks. So, and it is
And
weird. I wouldn't think that Omega would cost that much money to keep it up and running, but
well, it was all the illegal and borderline illegal and questionable shit too.
yeah,
Like that thing was a lawsuit machine, and I would imagine at some point like it's just too much.
that makes sense. That's fair. Like just having, let's be fair, just all the people on Omega, like 90% of the people on Omega, uh, were not were not good people.
Yeah,
Or not that they weren't, like, even that. It's a bunch of guys who are,
they're
showing off
just
their
really
meat.
gross people.
Yeah, just really gross.
It's
Um,
like it was full of really gross people and teenagers, and then like a very small percent of like YouTubers trying to get free content by
basically,
messing with people.
basically. Uh, but that's it. That's all we're gonna say about Omegle. We're gonna move on, and we're gonna move on to something more positive, the Golden Joystick Awards. And we're not gonna talk about every single category in depth, but I did want to read through the list of awards, and we'll talk about the ones that we care about. Let's face it, the one that we care about. Best storytelling, Baldur's Gate 3.
What?
Yeah. Still playing around. Still playing award. Game that has been updated. No Man's Sky. I think this is just gonna win every single year.
I
Like
do
how
think it's funny that Call of Duty is on this list,
it is.
given how badly that Call of Duty 3 is doing right now. That's
Yeah.
not what we're talking about, but I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. Best visual design, Baldur's Gate 3. Studio of the year, Larian Studios. Best game expansion, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. Which is nice. Have you played Phantom Liberty yet, Cyberpunk Monk? I think you mentioned you downloaded the game and played it recently.
That is the only video game I purchased this year that wasn't on some sort of discount, and I 100%ed it. Also, it's like the only DLC that came out this year of Matter. What the hell is this category even about this year?
I don't know. Best indie game, Sea of Stars. I have never played it. Never even.
It won
I have
against
no idea.
Pizza Tower, so it can go fuck itself.
Yeah.
That I was surprised about. That and Dave the Diver. Both of those games are incredibly popular.
Yeah, and Sea of Stars won. Best VR game, Horizon Call of the Mountain. Sure.
Were there any other major VR games that came out?
I have no idea. Best multiplayer game. This is weird to me. Mortal Kombat 1. Best
What?
multiplayer game.
There sure were. I mean, like maybe if it was best fighter game, but I was gonna say there sure were a lot of fighter games actually. This game that probably were better than Mortal Kombat 1.
Probably.
Man, they were really struggling to find contenders for that category because they put Exoprimal on that list.
Oof, and that game was
No one even
not
knows
great.
what the fuck Exoprimal is.
I played that with Sarah Luna and Air Fox.
The actual full release or the beta?
The full release. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Best audio, Final Fantasy 16. That's the only thing apparently Final Fantasy 16 could win, because that game was not great. Best game trailer. Why have this be category? Cyberpunk 20.
We need to give Idris Elba another reward, otherwise he won't show up.
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. Best streaming game, Valorant. I guess.
What?
What even? They don't even have other contenders in this list. So
yeah, I don't know.
It's apparently, unlike the majority of the awards at the Golden Joysticks, which are voted for by our readers and the gaming public at large, best streaming game is a critically voted award.
Oh,
so they just went with whatever game gets the most viewers on Twitch.
well, that's what I was thinking. It had to be something like that. Best game community, Baldur's Gate 3. Best gaming hardware, PSVR 2.
What?
I would probably
they put
say
a fucking SSD in this list. what?
Oh, I haven't been
What
clicking on it.
Fucking stupid category.
Alienware 34AW3423DWF. Is that a game?
Alienware and best gaming hardware should not be in the same sentence.
I wish that there was like an actual presentation involved with this, so that they could. And the fucking nominees are PSVR 2, the Nitro Deck, the Alienware 34AW3423DWF.
A hard drive.
Just
why is
rolls off the tongue.
Why is Steam Deck not on here?
It was released.
That came out last year.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah. That's why it's already outdated and bad.
Turtle Beach Stealth Pro headset was another one.
The Nitro Deck is a fucking. It's just a dock for the Switch.
It's awful.
That has controllers built in.
Breakthrough Award, Cocoon Geometric Interactive.
You know what's funny about that? Is that the game I talked about last week, Fremdganger, has the exact same gimmick.
Interesting.
So,
I don't like this one. I don't like Critics' Choice Award, Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, Alan Wake 2 shouldn't be winning any awards. It flopped.
Yeah, why would that be Critics' Choice Award 2? Because you would think, I mean, they get it.
Everyone was very critical of it.
Yeah.
When did this get voted on?
I don't know, but
this was published 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I don't
best
right, whatever.
Best lead performer. Oh, Final Fantasy 16 won another one for Ben Starr in Final Fantasy 16. Sure.
What?
Best lead performer. Best supporting performer, Neil Newborn, Asterion from Baldur's Gate 3. Which is everyone loves Asterion.
But how do you define a lead performer versus a supporting performer? Because you could make Asterion the main character in your game.
You can, but I would think that it's within the context of the main, like it's the main character. And yes,
there is no main character.
Right. You can make exactly. That's why Baldur's Gate 3 couldn't really do that, because you don't really have a main character.
But yet they have a non-main character nominated in the lead performer thing, because they have both Alan Wake and somebody named Saga Anderson in the lead performer. And they have Peter Parker and Miles Morales both in lead performer.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah,
co-leads. I could see
go
that.
fuck themselves. Just like this, the next category, it can go fuck itself.
The best supporting one or the best Nintendo game of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo Game of the Year. Like what? What are you even?
Well,
What are you doing at that point?
to be fair, they have Nintendo, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. They each have their own category. It's
Yeah, but that so doesn't
stupid.
need to be a thing. I agree with
No.
Aro on this one.
So Nintendo Game of the Year is
All-
Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
PC Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3. Xbox Game of the Year, Starfield. PlayStation Game of the Year, Resident Evil 4.
Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think that would be.
Ooh, that's gotta sting
Resident
just a
Evil
little.
4 remake. Even though that it doesn't. What are the definitions for these categories?
I don't know.
Games that released on this console.
Also,
Yeah,
also,
because
wait. We're gonna
all
back
of these nominees also came out on PC.
We need to back up here though, because it's Final Fantasy 16, Resident Evil 4, Street Fighter 6, Humanity, Armored Core 6, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Where in the ever living fuck is Spider-Man?
That's a good fucking question. They didn't even put Spider-Man 2 in the list.
Well, clearly that's not going to be Game of the Year. Have you seen this remake of Resident Evil 4?
Yeah, like
Why wouldn't you put the one game that was made by Sony?
I don't know. Most wanted game is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Is it?
I guess there were a lot of things in this category.
Why did they even put the Suicide Squad game on here?
So they've got
people
they had-
hated the look of that shit so much that they delayed it.
They had like 20 games in this category. What the fuck
Yeah.
is Pacific Drive? No idea.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. What's
Um,
Black Myth Wukong?
Actually, I've heard about that
one.
one.
I do know, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I don't
it's
know that.
it's what is that very popular Chinese myth?
It's Western Tale or Tales of the
Pacific
West or
Drive
whatever.
actually looked really cool.
But I mean, and Warhammer Age of Sigmar is on this list, and it didn't win. So
Yeah, nobody
obviously.
wanted that. I don't know why this list is telling lies.
And then I think this is the Universal Game of the Year. Is that what it's called? Ultimate Game
of the Year.
Baldur's Gate 3. So we have 7 of the categories went to Baldur's Gate 3.
You mean it
Yeah,
wasn't Metroid Prime Remastered?
No, shockingly enough.
You mean it wasn't Cocoon? Fuck you, list.
What about Dead Space remake
But
or
Uh,
Assassin's Creed?
so I wanted to talk. I've been wanting to talk about the Game of the Year stuff since Baldur's Gate 3 came out, because Nintendo was like, man, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, that's gonna be Game of the Year.
Larian Studios is like, hold my beer.
Yeah, Larian Studios was like, oh, we're just gonna release this awesome game, and it's like, shit. Like, Microsoft and Nintendo were kind of vying for that spot. Like, Microsoft was like, man, I want Starfield to be Game of the Year, and Nintendo was like, we need Zelda to be Game of the Year, and Larian Studios was like, nah, we got this.
Like, not even with an effort.
Well,
Larian Studios is just like, or not that they didn't put effort in. It was just like, Larian Studios showed up and just hat tricked everyone. Just made it look easy.
And
That's what I mean.
I hadn't looked at Baldur's Gate 3 at all since it was announced. And then like it coming out and being like one of the best games of all time easily is just like fucking balling.
I hadn't been paying attention because I do that with early access games. Like, I'll look when they first release and then just be like, I'll wait. And then like 3 years later, like there was a bunch of hype, like basically a month or two before the game released. And I was like, man, this looks really good. I'm gonna get this. And yeah, one of the best games released in the last 20 years. Just fantastic. And, maybe it's just because I like kicking people off of buildings, but it's great. And I one of the things I like about Baldur's Gate 3 is you just have room to experiment. It's not like, hey, you have to do it this way. There are a couple fights that have like a puzzle that, yeah, you have to do it in a certain way. But most of the time, you don't have to do that. There was a puzzle in the end of the first act where you have to go and like align some stuff on the floor. And I was just like, man, I don't understand the puzzle. And so I just went up to the lock and picked the lock. And it worked. So it's amazing the things that you could find out to do in that game. Where a lot of these games, like Final Fantasy 16, it's very much like you have to do it this way. And I think that's a big thing with what Legend of Zelda, right? Is just experimenting with different ways to do different puzzles. And it's not just, hey, you have to do it this way. You have to build this particular contraption. You can go in and experiment and figure out your own way to solve the puzzles, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it all very much feels like a step in the direction of kind of what open world games have been trying to accomplish since like probably since like Grand Theft Auto
Yeah.
of creating a true sandbox experience.
Yeah, both of those games are great. And honestly, I think that if Baldur's Gate 3 had not come out, Tears of the Kingdom probably would have swept. but
100%.
but fucking Larian Studios just came out and was like, "Nah, we're gonna Drax you all," and it's great. I am happy. The last thing I want to talk or mention is the lead, the CEO or whatever. He came up and he was like, "Hey, I want to thank everyone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." And I need to mention Wizards of the Coast. I actually have to because the Pinkertons are at my table. Uh, but he said the biggest thing he said was, we told them we were going to do one thing. We went a completely different direction, and they allowed us to do it and just stepped away and let us do our thing. So that
they had the pedigree where I think they could get away with that.
And he said, a note to all licensees and licensors, just let them do their thing. Like, don't involve yourself too much in what's going on. Just let the creative people do what they need to do.
The weirdest thing. Go on.
That has been the difference between every good licensed game and movie, really. Just every licensed property that has come out in a different form than its original. Whenever it's been good, it's been because the license holder has gone, okay, we trust you, and they've just let them go, and it's ended up being a much better product than it had any right to be.
And there are certain times where I can't list any off the top of my head because I'm not well versed in producer / licensee like relationships. But I'm sure there have been times where the producer has come up and been like, "Hey, we need to change this," and it's been better. I've heard of certain times where the Zack Snyder cut, right? People really loved it, but it's also a 4-hour movie. And not that Joss Whedon did a better job on it and trimmed it down to like 2 hours, but there have been times similar to that where it's like, okay, this movie is 5 hours long. We need to trim some fat. And thankfully with games, you don't really have that. You don't really have that problem because, Baldur's Gate 3 was a 100-hour game and everyone fucking loves it. So it's great. Did you ever beat that, Aroa?
Nope.
Are you going to?
I hope.
Okay. We are going to move on to our next story.
Wait, Connor was going to say something.
All I wanted to say was that I think it's very impressive that of all the companies to be like, yes, we trust you with this IP. Do what you got to do the best. That it's Wizards of the Coast not totally fucking things up. The
That's
people
weird.
who are notoriously like doing everything in their power to kick their fans in the balls over and over.
Yeah, I'm happy that they allowed Larian Studios to do their thing. And I have no idea what Larian's next game is going to be. I know they have come out and said it's probably not going to be on the scale of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, it's okay. They should calm down. Let the next release be so good.
Exactly. And it should be noted also, the Pathfinder games have come out since Baldur's Gate 3 was in production. What was it? Pathfinder Kingmaker and Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. And I thought, man, these are great games that really, at some point captured the feel of playing Pathfinder. And then you play Baldur's Gate 3 and you're like, oh my God, this is so much better than both of those games. Which is sad, but it really is. It captures that feeling of sitting down and actually playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I imagine that it's probably because Baldur's Gate 3 had like 8 times the budget of both of those Pathfinder games combined.
Also, a big part of the Pathfinder games that really bogged it down for me was like in Kingmaker and in Wrath of the Righteous, there's like a strategy element to the game where I just didn't like it. Like,
What's that? You want to have an RPG party adventure? Have you tried managing an army? No, really, we insist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they need to take that out. And Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't have that. It just has the fucking game that you play where you're your character running around doing good or bad things. And possibly saving owlbears and putting them in cute armor. Owlbears are adorable and also vicious, and I'm happy that Connor has not put an owlbear into Shadowrun yet.
No. They're called drop bears in Shadowrun, and they're fucking terrifying.
Oh, okay. Do they actually exist in Shadowrun?
Yes.
Okay.
And they have magical gonorrhea.
Awesome.
Or maybe it's magical chlamydia. It's whatever ones they actually have, but it's magically active, so it's extra suck.
Awesome.
I think it's chlamydia.
We are going to move on, and we're going to talk about the Steam Deck OLED. It's coming out. I don't think any of us are going to buy it.
Nope.
No, there's literally no reason to buy it if you already have one.
Yeah, it's nice.
Like if you already have a Steam Deck.
It adds on some stuff. It has a higher peak brightness in HDR. It has HDR. It has the same resolution as a slightly bigger screen at 7.4 inches instead of the 7 inches. You can get a max refresh rate of 90 hertz, which is going to kill the battery faster. It does have a bigger battery, I believe. Slightly bigger battery. Or better battery. I'm sorry.
I think it has better battery life because the APU it had a die shrink.
Yeah, it went from 7 nanometers to 6 nanometers?
Yep.
And then also, I think the OLED might make it last a little bit longer too, because you have that.
The battery is slightly bigger. It's 25% bigger.
Oh, that's
it's
significantly
a 50 watt hour battery instead of 40 watt hour.
Interesting. And then we have you have a new variant, the one with 1 terabyte of internal storage. There's also the addition of Wi-Fi 6E, which if you have a Wi-Fi 6E router, that's good. I do not.
I feel like most people probably don't. I've been thinking about getting one for my Quest, but money.
I've been thinking about getting a new router because the position of my current router is not in a great place, and so my TV has really crappy Wi-Fi on it, and then also it being so far away. Anyway, I've been thinking about getting.
I love having wires run throughout my entire house.
I also have no problem with that.
Yeah, the high tech low life in me fucking loves it. Like, looking at the ceilings of my room, fucking piece of art. Looks like goddamn Midgar up in here.
Yeah, I have one wire on my living room ceiling, but that would be a pretty long run to get it down to over into my bedroom. So I might just do a better Wi-Fi router. Anyway, it says that the RAM is 16 gigabytes. I'm sorry, gigabytes and LDDR5, but speeds are going up from 5,500 megatransfers a second to 6,400 megatransfers a second. So it could load games a little bit faster for this new version of the Steam Deck. It's cool. I'm not going to buy one. I'm going to wait until the Steam Deck 2 and see how that goes.
Yeah, all this is that the all of the vendors that they buy these parts from have essentially dumped the old hardware that they were using in the Steam Deck, and now this stuff is the same price as the previous stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's a refresh, and it's
yeah.
like when they come out with they just came out with the PS5 Slim. Same thing.
Mhm.
It's just a
Yeah,
refresh.
it's fine. It's
Um,
whatever.
and they say that the Steam Deck 2 is about 2 or 3 years away. So, hey, I'm sure we can handle using the current Steam Deck, not
Current
OLED
Steam Deck
version.
is fine. Like, unless you're trying to play Armored Core on it, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you tried playing Armored Core on it?
I don't own Armored Core. I just happen to know that's one of those titles that it's like, come on, guys, let's be realistic about what we're asking this thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are certain games that are not great to play on it. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are going to buy this OLED Steam Deck, but it should also be noted
Lots
that
of fucking stupid people bought the Nintendo Switch OLED.
yeah, well, and here's the thing too, with the Steam Deck, you can go on iFixit and buy an OLED screen.
Yeah.
You have to. I understand not wanting
I don't
to
think
take.
that would be a good idea to do that.
No,
So.
I don't want to take apart my Steam Deck. I know a lot of people have done it and, upgraded the storage or upgraded the battery or upgraded the screen, but I just don't want to take apart my Steam Deck. I like it being the way it is right now.
Just unless it comes with something to adapt the electrical connection running into it, like you could run into problems with that anyway.
You just pop out the yeah. I mean, the screen from iFixit is made for the Steam Deck.
Okay,
it's a legit part from Valve.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was like you could go on there, you can buy the new OLED screen and just shove it in the case for the original Switch or Steam Deck.
No, you
I
can
thought that was what you meant.
I believe you can upgrade and I could be
Oh.
wrong, but you can buy replacement screens and stuff from iFixit.
Yeah, I meant specifically the OLED.
Let me check. iFixit.
You could be right. I still, as somebody who is using an old ass like 2011 IPS 1080p screen as his main monitor, I see no value at all in an OLED screen versus an LCD screen if there's any difference in price.
Yeah.
Like buying an OLED screen to upgrade the Steam Deck is such a non-consideration that I cannot fathom why anyone would do that.
And
in fact would think less of someone who would do that.
I think sorry.
In my opinion, it's 100% it's there and it's available thing. Like you said earlier, it's the old standard has dropped out, and now something that used to be of higher price is now in that old slot, and they're just saying, "Hey, look, it fits. It fits."
I think I am wrong though. I think that you can buy the matte screen.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can upgrade to the higher end original Steam Deck screen. The OLED will not work.
I'm sure if you give it a little bit of time, someone will work on an adapter or something. The big issue with that is that you got to be careful about your power usage whenever you got something mobile like this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're at the point where you are already considering taking your Steam Deck apart and swapping the pieces out, you might as well just do a total overhaul. And at that point, you really ought to look at the parts you're buying and think, is it going to be better to just wait a couple of years and get Steam Deck 2 when it comes out? It's yes, you could have it now or sooner, but you probably could just wait and spend that money on the new officially supported hardware when it's out soon.
Yeah.
Not to mention, we didn't point out that the Steam Deck OLED also has a larger fan, and they kind of redid the way that the cooling is set up.
Oh yeah.
So that it runs like noticeably cooler than the OG Steam Deck.
Well, that's good.
I think I heard it was
probably helped by the die shrink.
I'm not sure if it actually is quieter, but the one question I have is, does it still have that good Steam Deck smell?
Probably.
That is an important question.
You'll have to buy one.
If you're not getting that good smell when you turn it on, what's even the point of owning it?
You'll have to buy one.
I still shove my nose in the exhaust vent.
Every once in a while, gotta get that thermal paste or whatever it is. It sure does smell so good. I think it's just because it's warm and warm activate
Yeah.
neuron and monkey brain.
Probably. We're gonna move on to our next story and talk about apparently the escapist is dead.
Yep. It
Yep.
happened fast.
Yeah. I did not read much about this, but I think was it Aroa who brought this story
It
up?
was me. Yep.
Zero
And I
punctuation
actually,
left.
yeah. So basically, the company that owns The Escapist, which is a very not good company. I can't remember what the name of it
They
is,
own a
but
bunch of different stuff.
yeah, they're like a really shitty conglomerate sort of company, and for whatever reason, they fired the editor in chief of The Escapist, who had frankly revived that brand. There was a time a few years ago where The Escapist had gone from being sort of a B tier website for content creators of a certain caliber uh, to put their shit on there, kind of like that guy with the glasses was back in the day, where like it was just a brand that you could be associated with if you had a following.
I always kind of
And
viewed them more as like big old coattails that somebody big and popular could walk around wearing, and everyone else can just hop on and hang on for dear
but
life.
yeah, and that was kind of the thing, is that like at the end of the day, I think most people, the only reason that they knew The Escapist even existed was because Zero Punctuation slash Yahtzee Croshaw
If
was on
not
there.
zero punctuation, maybe Robert Moran, the dude who did Legendary Heroes. Maybe
Yeah,
that's about it.
maybe.
I can't actually think of anything else worth
I
looking at
every time
Escapist.
every time I saw anything from The Escapist that wasn't Zero Punctuation, I just I ignored it, completely ignored it. Every time they posted anything in like their community feed that was like, hey, we're doing this thing, and don't forget to support all of our creators with the blah, blah," and I would always comment like, yeah, can I just like, if I donate money, can I specifically say I just want it to go to Yahtzee?
Hmm.
Because I just want it to go to Yahtzee because I don't like anything else that any of your creators put out. Um, but like finding out just how ludicrous this move was from Yahtzee afterwards, because what happened, they fired the editor in chief, who, like I said, essentially rebirthed the brand, and it does have at least a decent number of people who actually like all of the other creators on there. Um, and then they had like just started doing like a regular D&D campaign, I guess, or something, that while Yahtzee was a part of, like it was kind of its own entity. And yeah, so they got rid of him, and then almost immediately afterwards, once that kind of went down, the once the memo went out, more or less, then everyone else on the video team quit The Escapist. They just immediately resigned, including Yahtzee, because they were just like, no, if this is who we're working for, then there's no point. This is a sinking ship, and we're getting out now. And good on the editor in chief, he refused severance pay because he refused to sign an NDA
Yeah,
about what all had happened.
fuck yeah. And
Yeah,
I have a weird feeling all of these guys are going to be a-okay. I would not be
they
surprised if Yahtzee specifically has enough pull where he's going to be like, I'm just going to make my own publishing house, British accent. And it just shows up.
that is exactly what happened.
Ah, yes.
Um,
Lit.
most of the information that I know about this situation came from a video of them announcing their new platform slash channel,
It's called the
where Yahtzee.
ReEscapist.
I
I don't
don't I
think
Maybe.
don't
that's true.
actually remember what it's called. It is not that though. Um, they immediately launched a competitor, and it's It's going to be good.
Probably doing a
And
lot better too.
almost everyone from the Escapist video team has come on with them, in along with some of the writers, because the video team and the writing teams were separate at the Escapist, I guess. But a lot of the writing team jumped ship along with the video team.
I
So
so there was a
yeah,
while so I would watch Zero Punctuation, and then for a while they had extra credits, which was like a news, like a you know, a 5 minute, 10 minute news thing that they would do like two or
Oh,
three
like the
times a
Reading
week.
Entertainment Channel, but better.
Yeah,
didn't the
exactly.
guy didn't the guy that did extra credits, wasn't he like he got in trouble, right? Didn't he get canceled for something?
I don't know, but I know that they had problems with pay
Yeah, that
where
maybe that was what I
they
was
were
thinking of.
yeah, they were producing videos and Escapist wasn't paying them, and it's the Escapist would come up and say, "Hey, we'll pay you. We got the money. We got the money coming in. We're just going to pay you in like a couple of weeks." And then that pay would never come. And so the Escapist or extra credits ended up just going and doing their own thing. That's the only real drama that I remember, but I know there was quite a bit of drama
I was
with
probably
pay.
just like assigning negative emotions to the extra credits people and then forgot what the context was and just assumed that they did something bad because that's just how YouTube tends to work.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's just the nature of media. Like, if somebody makes good media, you're gonna hear about it, and if they don't make good media, you're not gonna hear about them. A
Yeah.
lot of these things, if they're not like, oh, you mean those guys? You like if we say, oh, Yahtzee Crawhaw, we're kind of like, oh, yeah, we all know kind of what his shtick is. He has that one formula video, and he does it pretty darn well.
and and here's the thing. Look, you said that Nick Calandra, the old editor, declined the severance pay because he didn't want to sign the NDA.
Yep.
And kudos to him for doing that. I don't know if I could do that.
That's pretty based. Well, I mean, you're
Like,
not in news public. I mean, you kind of are, but like, you're not really in news the way that these people are.
no, but
It
like
also
if I don't know if I could do that like from any company if they're like, here's 3 months of pay, but you have to sign this NDA. Like my brain would be like, I like 3 months of pay.
I think it would depend on the
Yeah.
situation, and particularly with where he was at, and everyone who was a fan of the Escapist essentially knew that that guy was the reason that the site turned around, and not to mention he almost definitely knew that Yahtzee would come with him,
Yeah.
and
If
knowing
Yahtzee's
that,
coming with you.
like yeah, everyone's just going to follow Yahtzee at the end
Yep.
of the day. So like I think he knew that he had a cushion to fall back on regardless. And another like fascinating thing, and it's really a testament to the fact that the guy knows what the hell he's doing with a brand. They came up with everything involving the new independent brand in like 3 days. Like it all of the like logo and like
I
just the whole concept for the brand, like everything about it, 3 days. That
I do wonder if they didn't have this as a backup plan already. Like he had something in his mind like if I get shit canned, what will I do?
Yahtzee mentioned that this was sort of like everyone already wanted him to go independent for years to begin with.
Yeah.
And so this was kind of like as soon as that guy got let go, that was his sign to just jump ship. Like there was nothing else holding him there. So and I kind of got that impression from a lot of his like unscripted stuff whenever he would talk about the Escapist, that he was pretty much there because he felt obligated more than anything else. Like they were good to him, or at least somebody at the Escapist was good to him, and so it really only seemed right that as long as they were doing right by him, that he keep feeding them. And
Yeah,
so
who owns the
I'm sure that they
Escapist?
talked behind the scenes too, where he's the editor in chief was probably like, some shit's gonna hit the fan here soon. We probably need to think about an exit strategy.
Oh, okay. So I remember that it was bought a while back.
Yeah.
But in 2022, the Escapist went to Gamers Group.
That's okay.
Yeah, it looks like.
Who is Gamers Group? Are they like Gamergate?
No, they're probably a
It's
conglomerate that owns a bunch of different. It says the same year which acquired the Twinfinite and Prima.
yeah, they're it's GAMURS. They own Dot Esports, Pro Game Guides, Game Per, Twinfinite, Prima, like you said, Touch Tap Play, which I've heard of, Gamer Journalist, Attack of the Fanboy. Oh, that's an old one. We Got This Covered. Never heard of that one. The Mary Sue. Never heard of that one. They own Destructoid, interestingly. Operation Sports. Okay. PC Invasion, Upcomer, The Escapist, Silicon Era, Game Skinny. Those are all of their brands.
I'm trying to figure out who owned before Gamers Group, but looking up anything in the Escapist right now, it's just like everyone left, it dead. But yeah, like I know that they were bought from they basically had one conglomerate that was bad, and they were bought by another conglomerate that was also bad.
Yeah.
So
Long time coming.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens. Was there any information? Because this was a couple of days ago that all of this stuff came out. Do we have any information on the new name of the platform?
Hold on. I'll see if I can.
We mentioned basically that they started it
Second
up.
Wind.
Second Wind. Okay.
And they're employee owned.
Well,
I gotta
good.
say, just having Yahtzee doing something that resembles but is legally distinct from Zero Punctuation, and just having a D&D show, that will be enough for this new website to succeed. Anything extra is just icing on the tape, and extra funds on top.
I also wonder if Zero Punctuation is owned by the Escapist or owned by Yahtzee himself.
Yahtzee does not have the rights.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, so he'll have to do like some punctuation.
Nope, that's actually, I think that might already be a brand. I think that was something that because he did a few like spin-off shows that were more talky, less less funny, like where he just had had a lot more unscripted, off the cuff sort of stuff.
So stay tuned for their new release, Punctuation Not Found.
Something like that. We'll see what happens with Mr. Croshaw there.
Yeah, give it like a week. I'm sure they'll be ready to announce stuff soon. Give them some time. It's all a very big change.
You might have heard a ding. That was Nick Lotus joining the call.
Howdy.
Hi there.
Now we have to restart this whole thing.
So we watch anime.
No, that we're done. That song's dead. Hi.
Shadowrun's canceled tonight, so I figured I'd pop in here and just I was gonna just listen, but you invited me into this episode.
I thought that was what was gonna happen.
Yeah, I called you out. I do that, and you're not supposed to do that on streams. Apparently, people get mad if they join and you're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And then they're like, "I just wanted to lurk."
Yeah,
do that in chat. Don't do that in the
poor form.
I guess. It depends.
I disagree on that.
I'm sorry, I committed a faux pas.
No, I think you are fine. But if you are hopping into a chat and the expectation is, oh, I'm just going to be here and not talk or anything like that, it's just like, and if it's being streamed, it's like, just listen to the stream.
This is on, if somebody joins your Twitch stream.
And you guys are live right now, are you?
Well, no, we don't do this live anymore.
I didn't think so.
But
no, it is like if you show up in the chat and you're like talking with people, it is rather, or especially if you don't say anything and you're just sitting in the chat and like somebody and like the streamer points out that you're there, that's very rude of the streamer to do that.
I think it depends on the like if it's somebody I know,
well, of
like
course, of course it does.
If you come in or Connor comes in, I'm gonna be like, "Hey guys, how's it going?"
Unless it's
but
me,
if
and
it's
you're like, "Fuck you."
yeah,
well,
but
and it's also very different because we have a combined audience of 3 people.
exactly.
So, like it's a completely different thing whenever you're a
Well, come
massive
on, it's
streamer.
at least 4. I'm here.
That's true. We're
I
gonna
never watch his streams.
No. You've come into my streams occasionally, but usually it's like it has to be a game that you're like, "Why are you playing this?"
Yes, I see the notification and I'm like, "You're playing what?" And I join, I look at it, and then I leave.
Yeah. We are gonna move on to the next story, which is another one I believe Aroa brought up, which there's a new highly invasive backdoor snuck into open source packages targeting developers. From Ars
So
Technica.
in our ongoing series of stuff that I don't think anyone really cares all that much about besides me, there's a bit of malware that's in a bunch of Python libraries / packages that is normally I would just say like, oh look, it's another sign that you shouldn't just install stuff and include packages in your software that you don't know what the hell it is and what it's doing. Um, but this is particularly remarkable in just how malicious it is. Because most of the time, whenever you see malware of any kind anymore, it's just kind of mean, uh, or it's like it steals from you.
It's like
That's
ransomware or something where it'll just lock
it's
everything down.
ransomware. It's like worst case, yeah, it's ransomware. Most of the time, it's probably not even going to be that. It's just going to steal your passwords. It's going to go into Chrome or Firefox, and it's going to wait for you to unlock your password safe, and then it's going to steal everything from you. Or maybe it'll be like a keylogger. This motherfucker, um, it essentially tries to DDoS your computer via ramping up the CPU usage as high as it can to make your computer overheat.
Oh.
And it'll put a batch script in your startup folder so that whenever you start the computer up, it immediately shuts it back down.
So
now, Aroa, Niclotus said we weren't playing Shadowrun today, and all these things sound like things you would do in Shadowrun.
These things, these are things that I'm actually just taking notes. That's what I'm doing.
It like opens a back door so that they can just manually run any commands they want on your computer. Like this is some serious like early 2000s or late 90s like assholery sort of malware that we don't see much anymore, and that was why I wanted to bring it up. Like it has the capability of doing like encryption and becoming ransomware, but like it also can like take pictures of you through the webcam and record audio and shit, and it will just like pop up messages and make fun of you. There's one payload where it pops up an error message in the middle of the screen that says your computer is going to start burning. Good luck, smiley face. Or your computer is going to die now. Good luck getting it back, smiley face.
Well, thanks for the warning, I guess.
Yeah, they I at least with this, because I don't know if you guys have gotten the emails that are like it's an obvious scammer who's just like, "Hey, I have compromising photos of you. Give me lots of Bitcoin." And I'm like, "Okay, fucking show me the video." Like
so there
come on.
They didn't actually list it in text in the article, but there's an image that has a list of all the commands that they can send. There's stuff like change the volume of the victim's computer, cause a blue screen, Where's get a file, encrypt all files, decrypt all files, turn the victim's screen on and off without stopping. Change the victim's desktop wallpaper. Listen to background music to the victim. Stop listening to background music to the victim.
I just want to mention, if somebody hacks my computer and it starts rickrolling me in the middle of the night, I'm going to be very upset after I'm done laughing.
There's one where the icon for it is skull crossbones and the name of the command is computer kill and the description is fucks the victim's computer.
This is, I mean, at least they're having a good
They
time.
can send their voice to the victim's computer. It's a live audio feed.
You know, when I
That's
was
terrifying.
like 13, the very first virus I ever wrote, it was written in Visual Basic, and after a random amount of time between 10 and 1,000 milliseconds, it would decide to open up your CD drive. And I would put that on my friend's computer, and it would go, ha ha ha, that's very funny. And then we'd remove it and not think about it anything. Like, it's not very dangerous. It shows how dangerous programming can be, I guess, but it was pretty innocent. This seems like the next evolution of that.
This is like I used to watch a lot of malware testing videos in the late 2000s mainly because that was whenever you had cool shit like this still.
Mhm.
And like this reminds me of that sort of stuff, or like DOS malware where it would do like really goofy shit where every third key press just wouldn't register and that sort of stuff.
The I love you
It,
virus or whatever it was. The same kind of idea. Just like, for as simple as it can be incredibly interruptive.
Yeah.
and it could also relay stuff back to a Discord server via webhook. So like you could control this shit from a Discord server. So you could even have like multiple people trolling somebody over this. And like they know it's going to be used for trolling. Like that is its purpose because there's shit like the screen one where it makes your screen flash. It's literally titled screen troll. So like this isn't just made like as a means of stealing somebody's info or any of that. It's straight up just to fuck with people. And while no, it's not good that it has all the really malicious stuff in it. I think it's interesting and kind of charming in a dark way that there are still malware developers who are having fun with this as obviously very malicious and illegal as it is.
Real talk, I am very surprised that Windows even lets this shit fly nowadays. I am so surprised that this doesn't get flagged as like, hold on, there's a thread doing something weird. Well, but I guess it's Python and you approved it.
Well,
part of it
that's the best thing is it can turn off Windows Defender.
Yep, deactivate Windows Defender and Task Manager. So
I'm gonna blame Connor. I'm gonna blame Connor for his Rickroll reference here, but all I can think about right now is that on my wedding night, I went to a karaoke bar and sang "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Well, that's fun. I'm sorry. What
and
were
I
you
gave
saying,
them I gave them Mrs. Nicole as my name.
Mrs. Nicole.
Never Gonna Give You Up is a good wedding song.
Oh, is that because you just got married?
Yeah. Like oh. On my wedding night. After the wedding, we went out with one of our friends to a karaoke bar, and that's the song I sang.
And now, thanks to this malware I infected on Nathan's computer, you could sing that to him anywhere in the world, basically.
That's great.
Noise.
We're gonna move on to our last story. Final story of the day. Even worse than the malware that can make your computer blow up. Amazon now has medical plans for $9
I don't
a
trust
month.
This shit.
I do not trust this shit. I do not trust pharmaceuticals coming from a underpaid, overworked factory worker at Amazon. That is not the person I want to be my pharmacist. That's not the person I want being my pharmacist.
I think it's not just pharmacy, it's primary care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
does it actually make it any better?
Their current offerings are pharmaceuticals, which was already like, okay,
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like, how cheap are these drugs if I can pay $5 a month and get as many pills as I want?
Well, and here's the thing: that's how much they should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Or less. because they're making a profit off of it.
No, they're probably buying all this shit from the Canada price and then turning around and selling it for
They're
300%
making it
markup still.
themselves.
Like-
That was why they bought the
One
company
Medical.
that they did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it says here now, the shitty thing is it actually sounds not terrible. If
I
it
know.
wasn't Amazon,
paper.
yeah, on paper it sounds fine. But if it wasn't Amazon, it might be all right. It says One Medical provides access to 24/7 care, virtual care, expedited care for common concerns such as cold symptoms and skin issues, and same or next day remote or in-person appointments at One Medical primary care offices. Not sure where those are, or if those are like partnered,
There
like you
aren't
have to,
very
like
many.
in network, like
No,
if
there
okay.
are actual like One Medical branded locations.
And where
I have a
are
weird
those?
feeling you're gonna see them in your Amazon town soon.
Probably.
I could see one popping up around here.
Which again, Niclotus said we aren't playing Shadowrun tonight. No megacorp cities.
It says, notably, virtual care users will not have any additional costs as the entire service is included in the membership fee. So that's cool. I mean, I fainted. I told you guys this not last week, but the week before. I fainted. Just so you know, I hit my head and cracked it open a little bit. Didn't require stitches or anything. It was fine. My girlfriend was
scared
like,
the crap out of us though when he told us about it.
"Ah, it's fine."
Luckily, it was just Nathan's head.
I told my girlfriend like I fainted, and she's like, "You didn't crack your head open." I was like, "No, of course not." Because I didn't want to go to the
he
hospital.
adjusts the towel on the back of his head soaked
So
in
you
blood.
lied. So you lied to your girlfriend about an injury.
Yeah. And so if she doesn't listen to the podcast, so that's probably for the best. But it wasn't bad. It was fine. I put a rag on it for a while. It was fine. But I ended up calling through my insurance. They allow you to do teledoc stuff. So I called up the teledoc stuff, and that cost me $50. So
Wow.
just one
Well,
appointment.
crap. Some people pay that much for just a copay.
Well, and that's the thing. If I would have went to the doctor, I would have had to pay whatever the copay was, which is probably more than that. I don't know. My insurance
Oh,
sucks.
man, I mean, if you have good insurance, your
I-
copay's not that dang high.
I don't. It's either
Problem is we're in America,
Yeah.
so we don't have good insurance.
Yeah.
Well, I work for a hospital. My insurance is fucking phenomenal.
I work for a dentist, and you think that my insurance would be great? It's not. I have
No,
to pay a ton
I think
of
your
money.
dental's phenomenal.
It's not. The dental is not very good either.
It's sad.
My
rough.
insurance is good.
That's good.
I work for a union company.
That's good. But going back to the story, the reason I bring that up is you're paying $9 a month, and that virtual care, like that teledoc being $50, right? That's included with that $9 a month, which is pretty good.
It's good for
but
now,
it's
but this is just going to be an excuse. Oh, we need to increase the price because look at all these extra services we're giving you.
Yeah.
That, and also like how many patients does a doctor contracted through this have to see in a day to make ends meet? How good are these doctors going to be?
Yeah.
Are they going to be like are they licensed medical professionals in a particular, like in another country where they have lower standards than the US?
I have no idea.
How often are they going to say, sounds like you have a cold, here's a prescription for, I don't know, antibiotics or something? And it's like, well, I don't know. I feel like we shouldn't be allowing tech companies to break into shit like this.
Yeah.
Even if they're buying something like, yeah, I get it, they bought One Medical for the purpose of using their expertise and like getting approvals for all this. But like everything about big tech companies is about the furthering of profit margins, and like that's two different industries combining together, big tech and medical. They're both about cutting costs as much as possible, and I'm supposed to trust these people with my health.
Yeah.
And I just don't think I can do that.
It does.
I never want to
yeah.
have my medical care be owned by a POI.
No, and we don't.
It's complicated. It really is. But I mean, excuse me if you can hear my son screaming in the background. I don't know what his dad did to piss him off.
Sorry, that's
But
me. I'm a little upset.
Yeah. It does.
you're not my baby daddy, Connor.
No, he was saying that
The one screaming, that is.
He is
Yes.
the baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
I am the baby.
no. It's no. I'm downstairs on my phone, and my son is upstairs with my husband. I don't know what he did to piss him off, but anyway, gosh, I just I don't know, like just thinking about the human element of the whole thing is what's really messing me up on this story.
It does say apparently One Medical, if you don't have a Prime subscription, is $199 a year. Prime members can get it for $99 a year. And then if you add on an additional person, it's an additional $66 per additional person.
Well, I mean, I've had plenty of, but I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I was trying to collect my thoughts after my child started screaming. But what I was going to say is that telehealth can be pretty good. You know, like I've done some telehealth appointments in the past year that have been great.
Yeah, mine.
And I think telehealth is a great thing for an insurance provider to offer. My problem specifically with the way that Amazon is doing this is it feels kind of like Better Health or BetterHelp and like those the therapy over text sort of services where they have a reputation for overworking and underpaying their providers and essentially like putting these medical professionals into an environment where they are treated much the same as any other like Amazon factory worker, well, factory worker I say, but warehouse worker or whatever, and like that's not good because it's one thing, and like not to say that the warehouse workers don't matter, but it's one thing whenever your Amazon package like gets mishandled and something gets missorted. It's another thing when you have an extremely overworked, stressed, tired, underpaid doctor who's giving recommendations that aren't right.
That totally makes sense.
And I am looking at the list because we mentioned that there's not a lot of One Medical places. It looks like there's 25 cities that it is in. One of which is Portland, Oregon, which has about 5 or 6. It has 6 different locations in Portland, Oregon, which is about a 3-hour drive for me. So if I were to sign up for this, I would have to, if I wanted to go in office, I'd have to go 3 hours away to actually see somebody. And there's nothing in where any of us are really. So there's none in Chicago.
Wait,
doesn't
there were locations in Chicago?
Were there?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. I'm sorry. There is. I was looking at St. Louis, as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing in St. Louis.
Nope.
You could say that again.
Yeah. Nothing in St. Louis. And then there's not a lot. There's not a lot of places for you to go if you want to go in office. I think,
but that's also I'm sure that Amazon doesn't really care so much about that.
Yeah.
Because it serves their One Medical serves like the huge population centers like Portland, Seattle, all that.
And
so and they just want those people's money.
Yeah, it looks like I would not be opposed to having this as in addition to the insurance that I currently have, if it wasn't owned by Amazon.
Yeah, I really don't like the idea that it has 24/7 virtual care available for such a cheap price. That seems iffy, and like I would even go so far as to say I'm concerned that this could end up causing problems in the industry overall.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even just that, like it's going to create unjustified expectations for like other companies in the medical industry, but like the reason that I mentioned the like giving antibiotics for a cold scenario, like mistakes like that are how
Mm-hmm.
we get shit like COVID-19. We end up furthering our steps towards making an unstoppable superbug that's going to destroy most of humanity. Like
I thought
we
about
can't.
I thought about that when you said it. I was like, but a cold's a virus.
Yeah, that was my point. Is that like a doctor shouldn't do that, but a doctor who is running on 2 hours of sleep and has seen 30 people already in the first 6 hours of work, that's not
They're going to
that's not
overprescribe
good.
antibiotics, and that's going
Yeah,
to be what kills us all.
yeah, you're going to fuck shit up overall. Like that's why the state of the medical industry as a whole is why we have shit like overprescribing antidepressants and prescribing the wrong antidepressants and antipsychotics to people because insurance companies don't want to pay for you to go to an actual psychiatrist. They want you to go to your primary care physician to get psychiatric drugs, and they don't understand what the fuck they're doing.
But they'd
Like
rather you go to a therapist than actually get like weed that can help them.
yeah, there's so much already wrong, and this is only going to make things worse.
I'm in Oregon. I can
And
get
I
weed
hate.
whenever I want.
Well, so can I, but uh, it's still just like it's not good. This whole situation is not good, and it's yet another thing that a big tech company is breaking into when they should just shut up and keep making AWS, because that's like the only good thing that Amazon has done outside of, making it so that I can buy a box of Chinese screws and have it here the next day.
Yeah. I don't like this, but I'm sure there are people who are going to sign up for it because it's included with
Oh,
Prime.
it's going to be a hit. It's going to be an absolute hit,
and
and I hate that.
I do too. We need, and
Oh,
I think we all agree.
There's certainly a section of the population this is going to save money for, and that sucks.
Yeah.
I think we all agree that we just need a universal healthcare system in the United States that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
That's
I think
not gonna
things are going to get a
happen.
lot worse before they get a lot better.
What really
Probably.
sucks too is that with something like this now happening, I could absolutely see Amazon lobbying for a universal healthcare system wherein this becomes like kind of the standard, where it's like, yes, it's a universal healthcare system in that like your copay is limited to $9, and you can be seen at any one of these major medical conglomerates for under your Medicare plan.
I
Like
had
So
a
I
thought
think
about this kind of along the lines of when you control the medical outlets like this, you kind of get to control how people get their care. And if you have a whole bunch of piss poor factory workers who aren't supposed to be off because they're sick, they're not going to get their approved sick leave.
so. I
yeah,
was just. It doesn't say that the in-office visits are covered by that $9 a month.
Probably not.
It says here, alternatively, patients that prefer office visits can use insurance or pay out of pocket. So the one medical
Of
is,
course, there's the loophole in there.
yeah, it's
well,
basically the
that's the
24/7.
$9 a month. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're paying. It's probably still significantly cheaper than, say, going to an ER or something, or going to another medical facility that when you're not signed up to this. But it's not the $9 a month. You have to pay something additional to that, to get the in-person care.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't like this. We should not do this.
Right. I have very little knowledge about how expensive medical stuff is, but I just
Very.
like how difficult can it possibly be to make basic healthcare affordable?
It's not that difficult. In fact, I think that there's like 30 countries who have done that, and they do a better job than the United States. The problem is it's very difficult in the United States because we have lobbyists who decide that they want to buy politicians and increase their profits. We've actually spoken about it before, where when a company gets an IPO, they have to continually make money and they can't be stagnant. So let's say, the REIT and Entertainment podcast blows up and we make $1 million in a year and we get an IPO. And then that I have shareholders where if I don't do everything in my power to make money, to make more than that $1 million next year, they can sue me. So we have all these companies that are pharmaceutical companies and medical companies and hospitals that are IPO, and they have shareholders that need to make a
they're
profit.
Public.
Yeah,
public is
IPO
stands for initial public offering. That's just whenever you go public and get on the stock market.
Right. You're
I understand what he means. Like being a publicly traded pharmaceutical company, those shouldn't be co-aligned.
That shouldn't be a thing.
No.
You shouldn't have there shouldn't be a profit motive to health.
Right.
And that's what we have in the United States. And that's why it can't be affordable in the United States until we break down the system. Or pass laws that make it so that they can't do that. But that's not going to happen because all the politicians are bought and paid for by pharmaceutical companies. Anyway, now that that's your weekly dose of sadness, that's also the end of our podcast.
That's basically it. I do have one honorable mention. It's going to take me 30 seconds.
What?
Y'all know that new Call of Duty game?
Oh. What about Call of Duty?
Yeah, they apparently they really messed up with the balance on their maps, and a lot of the maps that they released on the game are just removed from matchmaking because people were getting like spawn killed at the start of games and it wasn't fair. So that's not a good position to be in.
Yeah, that's always fun. That's enjoyable.
It's lame.
Do you remember when Call of Duty used to have, like, I don't really like the guy, but Dr. Disrespect or whatever the fuck his name is. I know that he made maps. He designed like heat maps and like level design as a study, as an art. What happened?
They have to push out a new game every year. That's
yeah,
what
but
happened.
I mean, I've been playing Halo for the last 20 years. I, for one, know firsthand, you could just release the same map with a new skin over and over. Sometimes we'll even pay for it.
That's true. That is 100% true. They've been doing that since Halo 2.
Just definitely. They still release Halo 1 maps on Halo Infinite. The only thing I really wanted to say with that is what a damn shame that they didn't take any of the lessons they've learned, and I'll just go ahead and say being the #1 multiplayer first-person shooter in the market, and how the mighty have fallen. Also, good riddance.
Yeah. But I want
That's okay. They're owned by Microsoft now, so who the fuck knows what's going to happen?
Right. They're going to start putting Halo maps in Call of Duty.
Don't fucking threaten me with a good time. Really, and I was talking to a coworker about this. They need to go back to map design from like the mid 2010s. Like Battlefield 4 maps were fucking primo. Levolution and shit like that, more of that. Now everything's boring, linear, and I mean, I guess at least it's colorful now, but it's not great.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna thank you guys for being here. So thank you, Aroa.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here, Cyberpunk Monk.
I was definitely here.
Thank you for being here, Nick Lotus.
Even though it popped in like in the middle, thanks for having me.
More towards the end, actually, but that's okay. And we will be
well. Thanks for having me anyway.
Lucky you, you missed all the bad parts.
Yeah, and we will be back next week with more stuff. I'll actually be here next week, probably, unless they make me go for another 700-mile drive. Goodbye.
Goodbye,
I
everybody.
would drive 700 miles an hour. I would drive 700 more.